Hi everybody, this is Dave Neufeld for the Best Buy Canada blog, and today I'm taking a look at the ASUS VG248 24-inch gaming monitor. So this is a really nice sleek gaming monitor. I like it because it has a lot of functionality and a lot of features and amenities that are especially of particular interest to gamers. But I'll just start a little bit with the design. As I said, it's a 24-inch monitor, so it's a fairly decent size, but it's not overly enormous either. So what I kind of like about it is that it is a bit more compact than some of the larger gaming monitors on the market. It makes it really ideal, especially maybe for if you are limited to a smaller desk space or say a dorm room, for example. This is a great monitor that packs in all of those gaming features, but also isn't really of a really enormous size. But it is still a very nice, decent sized monitor that has a great display and a lot of adjustability as well. Just to show you really quickly some of the ways. So it just adjusts really easily. You can go up and down. You can go for a viewing angle full 180 degrees, and all of these adjustments are just so easy to make, but they're also firm. It really stays in place after, so you don't have to feel like it's about to slip out on you. It tilts up and down this way, and of course if you happen to want a vertical setup, you can just really easily tilt it entirely on its side like that. So there you go, lots of nice adjustability with the stand itself. As far as ASUS gaming monitors go as well, another feature that I really like on these, I have one myself at home, not this particular model, but I actually have a couple of ASUS monitors at home. I really like them, and I don't know if you can see this, but this is the control panel on the side, and the main button is actually a joystick kind of control here that you can use to push up and down and left and right, and you can push it in for enter. And what I like about that is it makes menu settings and adjustments really easy, because see, I just clicked that joystick button in and it brought up my menu, and then I can go up or down or left or right, and I'm only controlling any of this stuff with one finger. So instead of having to work through a bunch of buttons, you know, up, down, left, right, that sort of thing, that little joystick just makes it really easy to play with the menus, which I like a lot. And while I've got them up, I'll just go over some of the menu features. So there's quite a few different, as you can see, different presets. So there's scenery, racing, cinema, real-time strategy, FPS, and it just makes slight adjustments to the video quality of the display for the ideal settings for different game types. So that's really neat. You can see I can just make quick volume adjustments, all those sorts of things. It's just so easy to control everything with that one little joystick button, as opposed to other displays and TVs. And you know, I've had a lot of experience with monitors and TVs in the past where it's just not quite that easy, because the control panel is always to the back, and sometimes you can't quite see it, or the buttons, you don't know which one your finger's on. So I just really like that about this monitor. Another button it has here brings up a few more amenities, the Game Plus button, and these are a few more of the features of this monitor that tie directly to gamers. You can see when I press that button, I get a few options. I can bring up a crosshair. So you can see there's a bunch of different choices here of crosshairs that you can actually add on, and as soon as I click on, maybe not as great for a racing game like Forza Hero that I'm displaying, but you know, for a first-person shooter, you can increase your precision and accuracy with an overlay of a crosshair if that suits you better. And if I just click the X button here, it goes away. There are a few more options. You can set up a timer. That's kind of neat, so you can time your gaming sessions. Maybe if you're a streamer or you're doing a charity stream or something like that, or a speed runner, you might want to have a timer up so the monitor can overlay that for you. Frames per second counter, so you can actually click that and keep track of, you can see right now the monitor is locked to 60 frames per second, so it's going to show 60 there, but if you've got a variable frames per second going on. You can keep track of, so you can see whether your frames are dipping or not. And I'll just get rid of that. And some alignment options, especially if you're going to be using maybe a multiple monitor setup, you can make slight adjustments so that the display lines up properly for you. But what really makes this monitor a great gaming monitor is that it is GSync compatible. So GSync is NVIDIA's kind of proprietary solution to the issue of screen tearing and that sort of thing. So what happens is, if you aren't familiar with GSync or VSync or any of those terms, most monitors are usually locked to a refresh rate, like for example this one at 60 frames per second. But GPUs render images in variable rates. They don't stay perfectly. So when the fixed frame rate and the variable rendering rate of the GPU don't line up, you get screen tearing. So in order to combat that, a lot of games have built-in, say, VSync technology, which is meant to kind of try and eliminate that screen tearing. But what normally happens there is, because they force the lineup to happen perfectly, instead you get stuttering. So you get it won't let the screen tear, but instead you'll get dropped frames and kind of a stuttering look. So NVIDIA has tried to combat this with their proprietary GSync technology, which perfectly lines up both the refresh rate and the rendering, so it should eliminate both screen tearing and frame rate stuttering at the same time. But in order to use that, you not only need a GSync compatible monitor, which the VG248 is GSync compatible, but you also need to have a GeForce GTX, a GeForce NVIDIA GPU that's compatible with GSync as well. Both have to be compatible. So here you can see I'm using my ASUS Republic of Gamers laptop. It has a GeForce GTX 1080, so it is GSync compatible. So I'm all set on that front, and I have it enabled. And it just leads to a really great gaming experience. I tested it over quite a few games. You can see here, Forza, I thought that would be a good one to test it with, because I would, start, racing the car around really fast and kind of trying to do spins and making the landscape shift and move where I thought that screen tearing might occur, and it didn't when I had GSync enabled. So it seems to work really well. From my experience, it definitely has a great results, and the monitor has a really low response time too. It actually has a less than 0.5 millisecond response time, so really good as well. And that also adds to the combating of motion blur and things like that, especially in racing games like Forza. I also tested it on, loaded up Google Stadia and did some Destiny 2, and same sort of results with the G-Sync enabled. I really didn't notice any screen tearing or artifacts or any noticeable stuttering or freezing that seemed to be likely what would have been a result of those sorts of issues that pop up without G-Sync or something similar. Now, if you don't have a NVIDIA G-Sync compatible card, this monitor does still have additional solutions for you on top of just the industry standard kind of. Games usually have VSync compatibility built into them that you can toggle on or off, but if you can't use G-Sync because your GPU is not compatible, you still do get some additional assistance with, it's called adaptive sync. So you can, I don't know if you can see that or not, but here in my menus I've got adaptive sync set to on. So again, that's built into this ASUS monitor, adaptive sync. If you don't have G-Sync, adaptive sync will still kind of give you some additional resources to combat screen tearing and that sort of thing, which is ultimately what we look for in a monitor. One of the things that we definitely look for in a monitor that we would call a gaming monitor. So that's a really great feature, and one of the reasons why you might want to look at a dedicated gaming monitor like this one as opposed to just a regular PC monitor. So that's about all I have for you today. As I said, I'm really impressed with the monitor. I think it's The G-Sync works really well. It's really great for gaming. It has great picture and display. It has great functionality. And overall, like I said, the ASUS makes their products in a range of sizes. This one is a bit on the smaller side as far as just the whole line goes, but for that reason, I would definitely, especially recommend it for those, gaming in smaller spaces or dorm rooms or that sort of thing. And it's also a bit more economical, of course. The larger the monitor, the more it costs. So if you're a bit, price conscious or on a budget, this is a great monitor that has a lot of gaming features. It doesn't sacrifice on those. It has, the G-Sync and all of those features. The only thing that it doesn't have is compared to larger monitors, more screen real estate. So it can save you a few bucks on the size and still provide an excellent excellent video experience. So that's all I have for you today, but be sure to stay tuned to the Best Buy blog for all the latest in gaming and technology. Until next time.